everybody, my name is Eric Hopkins and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're finding me for the very first time or you are a returning viewer and have not yet done so, please click that like and subscribe button. And don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get all the notifications about when I put up new content right here on this channel. So Marvel Studios just had their world premiere of their newest film, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, and now we've got the early critic reactions to that film, and of course, it seems like everybody's very positive about this, including the spectacular post-credit scene everybody's raving about. So let's get over here into the direct article and discuss the early reactions to this movie. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is back in the cinemas. After the controversial hybrid release of Black Widow, Marvel Studios is set to debut their first theatrically exclusive picture in over 2 years with Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Following leading man Simu Liu, Shang-Chi tells the age-old tale of the prodigal son returning to his confrontational and assumingly evil father, coupled with the film's promise to answer a decade-old Mandarin mystery. Shang-Chi has the world's full attention. Beyond the plot, Shang-Chi is a film of firsts. It's the first Asian-led Marvel Universe movie. It's the first martial arts Marvel Universe movie, and it's also the first origin story of Phase 4. The list goes on and on. While Shang-Chi has a lot going for it, there are factors working against it, though. In any other year, a theatrically exclusive release is a colossal vote of confidence. In 2021, though, the cinematic rollout is being described as a, quote, interesting experience by CEO Bob Chapek, I believe is the one who said it. With COVID-19 concerns worldwide, shadows of doubt have been cast on this film's box office potential. As creative as promotional pushes can get, there's no better marketing campaign than word of mouth. With that being said, how are critics reacting after Shang-Chi's world premiere a few days ago? Just under 3 weeks before it hits theaters, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings debuted its world premiere to stars and critics alike. ComicBook.com's Brandon Davis says the film is full of action like we've never seen from the MCU before, while also noting it's darker than expected. Insiders Kristen Acuna praised the film's cast, specifically citing the leading women and star Simu Liu. She wrote, Shang-Chi is fantastic. It's full of incredible, beautifully choreographed fight scenes and full of badass women. Get ready to know Simu Liu's name if you don't already. Marvel has another hit on its hands. Fandom's Eric Goldman emphasized that the film has a lot not in the trailers, which is good, and presents distinctive elements that set it apart from the typical origin stories. He wrote, I really dug Shang-Chi. There's a lot not in the trailers. Maybe avoid ads in the next couple of weeks if you can, and it has its own vibe and distinct elements that make it stand out and not feel like a standard origin story. And Simu Liu makes it for an awesome hero himself. The Hollywood Reporter's Aaron Couch called the theater atmosphere, quote, the most enthusiastic he's been in since Avengers Endgame. The Rap's Humberto Gonzalez mentions that Shang-Chi is Marvel's, quote, first true family movie with plenty of likable characters. Collider's Steve Frosty Weintraub stressed that it is like no Marvel movie you've ever seen, and it opens the door to a new world. Drew Taylor of Vanity Fair rounds all this out with high praise for leading man Simu Liu, saying, quote, he is your new favorite Avenger. So that's some high praise right there. And of course, they go on and on and on here. There's a bunch of different reviews that are just absolutely praising this movie top to bottom as possibly one of the greatest origin films, particularly in the MCU, even better than Iron Man 1, Thor 1. I've been hearing talk that this movie is more fun than Avengers Endgame, which is like, whoa, okay. I even heard one YouTuber, John Campea, said that this movie was the best comic book movie he's seen since Logan, and almost everybody loves Logan. It's universally loved as Hugh Jackman's final appearance as Wolverine. So, I mean, this thing is getting all sorts of praise. Now, granted, usually coming out of world premieres, critics a lot of times are high off that buzz and the excitement. So a lot of times they're definitely going to be, very, positive coming out of a world premiere. So sometimes your initial reactions, you're really high, and then you give it a few days, it'll come down. But I've also been seeing some people who've seen this movie on Twitter already say, you know what, it's been 48 hours or so. I still love this movie. It's not come down for me. And some of who've seen it multiple times say, yeah, it's just as good the second time around. So this is nothing but good news, because I'm not going to lie. When I saw the trailers for Shang-Chi, I'm going, okay, I want to see it because it's Marvel. I'm going to go see it. I'm a big Marvel Studios fan here. Marvel in general, for that matter, as well as DC. But I thought, okay, this movie looks good, but it's going to be an origin story. I'll probably enjoy it for the kung fu action and things like that. But from what I'm hearing, it's got a lot of, spirituality to it. It's got a lot of depth, and they say it's even darker than expected, which just seems to be something that the MCU is kind of, embracing a little bit more of their dark side when it comes to certain things. Like Loki has some dark side, WandaVision, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness next year is supposed to be their first foray into the horror element of the MCU. So it's going to be getting kind of dark here. A lot of people are dealing with depression and, grief and all this sort of stuff since the events of Avengers Endgame. And it was just recently confirmed that Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings takes place post-snap, or post-blip, as they're calling it in the MCU. I still don't like the term blip, but it's taking place after the events of Thanos invading Earth and wiping out half of all life. So there's going to be some dark elements in it, as to be expected after an event like that, I would assume. Yeah, I just thought that this film is going to be all right. It's going to be fun, but now with all these reviews coming out, my expectations are starting to go through the roof a little bit. I'm thinking, okay, if they're saying it's better than Iron Man 1, better than Thor 1, better than most of the origin stories we've already gotten in the MCU. Of course, in effect, I was talking to our friend Brandon here on the channel, who does over wrestling reviews and things like that with us here on the channel as well. He was saying they need to knock this out of the park, because if they're starting over after Avengers Endgame and you're going to build a new roster of teams, you've got to hit this first movie out of the ballpark. Now, yes, Black Widow came out first, but that movie in the timeline took place before Avengers Infinity War and after Civil War, so it wasn't really the first big movie in Phase 4. This is the first big movie outside of Spider-Man Far From Home that takes place after Avengers Endgame with a new character, and you've got to knock this out of the park. And it sounds like, from everything we've already heard from critics, that they did just that. And not only the movie apparently is good, there have been talks that apparently the post-credit scene, apparently there's two, so definitely when you go see this, stay through the mid-credit scene. Then there's one at the very, very end, they say, which is also very good. But the one that everybody seems to be raving about is that first mid-credit scene. Apparently something happens in this mid-credit scene that people at the world premiere apparently were cheering. I think a lot of them were standing, and apparently they were cheering so loud, according to reports, that some of the critics were not even able to hear the dialogue of what was being said on screen, because whoever shows up here apparently gives a very good idea of where the MCU is going in the future. And apparently it was so shocking that critics were just going crazy about it. They were going bananas. So what could this possibly mean? Now, a lot of people were speculating personally that this could be the reboot of Iron Fist, because Iron Fist and Shang-Chi kind of share a lot of similarities. But again, now that we've got the MCU officially introducing the multiverse, could we be looking at a Robert Downey Jr. returning as Tony Stark from another universe? Could we possibly be looking at Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine for a one-off appearance or something, setting up something in the future? We don't know what they're going to do here, but whatever it is, apparently it is so monumental that everybody are just losing their minds about it. So I can't wait to see what it is. I'm not saying it's going to be Robert Downey Jr. I'm not saying it's going to be Hugh Jackman, but it sounds like whatever it is drove everybody so crazy they couldn't even hear the dialogue of what was being told to them on screen. So that right there gets me excited just to see what it is. So now my anticipation is even further through the roof than it was earlier. Like I said, I just thought this was going to be a cool little origin story to kind of set up the future of the MCU and things like that. But after hearing these reviews, I am 100% in on this. I will be going to the theater to check this out because I can't see it anywhere else. So yeah, that's going to drive me to the theater, and yeah, I think that's going to be a good thing for Marvel Studios. Hopefully the movie will do well to get good word of mouth, because there's a lot of people who don't know who Shang-Chi is, much like we didn't know who the Guardians of the Galaxy was. But hopefully with the Marvel Studios name put on it, many people will go to the theater and check this out, and hopefully it will reward them with a great film, as it sounds like it's going to do. But the real question here is, guys, what do you guys think about these first reactions for Shang-Chi? Are you excited for this movie? Do you think it's going to be just a typical origin film, or do you think these reviews are going to raise your anticipation? And what are your thoughts on what the potential of what that post-credit could be? Let me know what you guys think what that scene is going to be. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And please hit that notification bell so you get all the notifications about when I put up new content right here on this channel. And until my next video, guys, take care.